Wow, it is cold and rainy. Good Wednesday morning. It is still spring in so many ways. Good Wednesday. Hey, good morning there. Last night I totally goofed up. I had a great plan. I just opened the barn doors up in the morning. Last night I kind of got sidetracked, and it's just turned into me going back to the old way of letting dogs in and out there in the barn on a full-time basis. And what's even more crazy is I didn't put my hearing aids back on. So I've literally been without hearing aids. I actually enjoy it, believe it or not, because you just don't hear all the noise. The noise wears you out. All right, here we go with the Troublemakers. And let's see what we got going on here with the Troublemakers. Well, hello there. Hi. How bad did they do last night on the on whatever they did, right? Get on down there. You know? Down. I didn't put the pee pads down because they seem to like to eat those things up more than use them. But let's see here if these guys. Whoop, hold on. Let me get the door open so that good old Gypsy. She seems to be really be okay without Prince, the man in her life. Oh, but you gotta stay down. Your little habit of jumping up isn't good. Stay down. Stay down, stinker. I know. Gotta give you all attention. So that side looked pretty good. And where's my barn? Gotta get the door open because Brian has to come in and get to work and blah blah blah. And the birds. I mean, is this a crapless day? I doubt it. I'm sure there's some crap back there somewhere. Yep, there's a few piles. Yeah, there's running in front of the door. No, so they're running down the side of the bikes. So we'll handle that later. So now, as we mosey on over to the house, let me get my coffee. Let me get my doors. There's all a routine here on how Brian can get in and out of here. I tell you, man, when we get out of here, it's going to be challenging. It really is. In some ways, this is my father. I wish we would have done the celebration of life for my mother like this fall. Just because this is going to be very challenging for Brian to get in and out of here in the morning. You know, how he's going to do it by himself, I don't know. You know, so, yeah. It's never simple, everybody. You take on all these animals, you know, it's a commitment. And managing it to work is challenging, to say the least. So, anyways, yeah, in hindsight. But at some point I get down to Florida to see my father. And you know, it's, but you know, nobody's come to see me in 10 years. Cracks me up, you know, how life operates. I know. I guarantee you there's so many people on the channel who say, yep, you know, my family never comes and see me, but they expect me to come see them. And if I don't, you know, you're not a good person. The grass looks really nice. The rains have helped kind of get all the loose grass to kind of go into the ground. So the property looks really good. But you can see, if you're really watching my channel, this is just non-stop with the weather being the way it is. And if I'm not in town, there ain't nobody here to do it. So you'll be like, well, pay somebody to do it. Well, just start. Everybody tells me how to do things. Don't take it the wrong way, but just send me money. I mean, sincerely, if you want me to build a nice kennel here, just give me money to do it. I mean, come on. People donate charities 10, 20, 100 grand all the time. I guarantee there's people on my channel have tons of money sitting in accounts they'll never use. Just send me money. Send me money to pay people to take care of the property when I'm not here. I'd appreciate it. Why wouldn't you do that? Just because I'm not your family? I'm your family. I talk to you every day of my life, probably more than other people do. Right? right, everybody. Get on out. There goes. I guess I have duty. Just got to take garbage over to the barn. If I don't do this, I can guarantee you that the dogs will get all this stuff. So now I got my hands full. Come on back. Mom. All right, what a beautiful morning as far as just being a nice morning. Even though it's overcast, but it's not real cold. And, you know, it's just that time of year where it's nice to get the rains, to get all the greenery, greener, feed the trees, feed the planet, the rains. We need the water, right? And, oh, they're saying that this is going to maybe be the busiest weekend ever. It's even hard for me to believe this weekend's Memorial Day weekend. They're even saying it's a unique calendar year on how Memorial Day weekend is playing out. Because usually, I thought it was like right at the end of the month. So they're expecting over 1 million more people traveling on the roads. They're expecting 45 million people that'll be traveling starting tomorrow. They're saying tomorrow will be the busiest day of travel, Friday as well, but probably Thursday afternoon will be the big exodus of people getting out of town to go hang out with their family and to observe if they have anybody's pass, especially whatever it may be. So Memorial Day is a big thing, and usually for many years, come on pups, come on Will, for many years I've always traveled to Tennessee. There was always holidays that kind of flowed with Tennessee and then Florida. Typically, the November Thanksgiving was Tennessee. Typically, the Christmas was Florida. Spring break was typically Florida. Memorial Day was typically Tennessee. Labor Day was typically Tennessee. And then Florida was more, come on, Pops. Florida was more just not even having to do with holiday so much, except when Julia was in school. Then the spring break and the Christmas played. No, come on, hey, stop it. Played to our tune because of her having time off school, her being able to be out of school and be able to travel. So for all those years, you know, for all these years that I've traveled back and forth to Florida, it's been more catering to Julia's school schedule than the actual time of the year. But once you get out of school, then open the door. We can kind of go down there anytime we want, which has evolved. Then we had the pandemic. After sitting out the first pandemic, the first year, remember, 2020, everybody was forced home. We couldn't even travel. I don't think travel opened back up until sometime in 2021. Does everybody remember that chit show? I don't know where Willow is, but it doesn't really matter. But there's the dogs. I got to go back to Costco again today. I didn't feel like doing it yesterday because the bill for me ended up buying my outdoor patio stuff would just get to be too much. So I need to go back, get more dog food, maybe get some more treats for them. And they seem to be pretty content eating all that. And they kind of just need to eat the food. There's Will. Hey, Willow. You're late, Willow. You're late, Lily Pilly. Watch out, pups. As you witness me doing my thing, and I've only been putting down 3 bowls instead of 4. I should probably put 4 bowls down. I don't know. They don't really seem to eat. The treats really make a big difference. That's the reality. Me giving these bones, you know. Hey, Will. All right, let's see him, buddy. Get over here. And, yeah, these were things that I used to share with somebody else's responsibility to a degree. Not totally. Oh, well. I'm amazed the birds' pooping time has kind of fizzled out. And, but, you know, it's interesting. Rebel and Gypsy are such the boyfriend-girlfriend dog. They really are. They just love to play with each other. And it's incredible how, if I never would have gotten Rebel, everything would have played out differently in some ways. Would have Diesel still gotten run over because there was one less dog. a lot of different things you could say that play up to that tune. And, but, you know, it's interesting how my daughter was always kind of the go-to person of what's going on down in Florida. And now that she's no longer up here, I don't really know. And I don't really bug my brother, don't really bug my dad. But Julia tends to kind of keep me in the loop if anything radical's going on. So, and I've had too many conversations with my father, and being long distance, it just doesn't really go anywhere. Meaning, whatever I'm telling my dad, it's just, I think my brother has more influence over what's going on down there than I do. So, and for the record, you know, putting for my brother and sisters, you know, what would my father be doing? You know, that's the thing about life. If you're a single person, you don't have any kids, where's it all going as you get older? I mean, sincerely, you know, that's kind of like, huh, wow. And if you don't have the money to be putting assisted home, what are you going to do? Who's going to take care of you? Is your sister or brother? But if you're the youngest and your sister and brothers have all died, who's taking care of you? I mean, you know, as you get older in life, you know, I've been fortunate, but my mother and father, I think about my mother and father's, you know, especially my mother's end of life, she had incredible support. Now, for me, I don't have a bunch of kids. I have only one kid. I'm sure there's other people out there who say, I don't have any kids or whatever it may be. So as you get older in life, who's helping take care of you? Yeah, I mean, who's going to help take care of you if you don't have a bunch of kids? Yeah, you better have some money to go live in an assisted living home, because otherwise, I don't know. What do you do? What's the game plan? I really don't know. I don't really know. Here we are in a collection of all the toys that never get ridden. And last night, I kind of explained a little bit more on the surface of how expensive all this stuff is, and how challenging it is, and how in so many ways I was the wild ass guy thinking it all would play to my advantage, but it did not. Have you ever heard of the Tush Push? This is something that's interesting. So in the NFL, they have a very fine line, what they call the Tush Push, and the Eagles, I guess, what is it, Jalen Hurt, whatever the guy's name is, the Super Bowl champions, the Eagles advanced like on a 4th yard conversion or 3rd yard with like 2 yards to go. They had like 98 out of 100 times, they were successful on the Tush Push. And what that is, it's when other players get behind the quarterback and they push his tush into the defense to try to get that extra few yards to get a first down. And the Eagles are the number one team in the NFL that use the Tush Push. And it's starting to raise eyebrows because they feel like you're borderline now in the rugby league. That now once you start taking and putting players behind running backs and quarterbacks, and you got a bunch of guys behind them pushing them along, then, you know, what are you playing anymore? Are you playing football? So the NFL owners have had this discussion in 2006, and it's kind of fine language in how you decipher what's a Tush Push, what it isn't. And, and what they say is it can create possibly more injuries on that type of assistance of people being behind a quarterback and pushing him as he's going in, and maybe he realizes something's going on that's going to break his leg or foot or injure him, but he can't control because other people are controlling him. But for the moment, the Tush Push is still going to stay in play, so you may want to pay attention to that. Maybe more teams' eyes are getting more open. Maybe offensive coordinators are now seeing, hey, you know what? The Eagles always had a great success on 3rd down or 4th down conversions of only a few yards by using the Tush Push. So it wouldn't surprise me like the 3-pointer game that Stephen Curry brought to the NBA years ago. And if you watch basketball, which I really don't, but if you actually watch it, it's become some ways boring because all it is now is guys run down the court and they position them on 3-point line or behind it, and they shoot 3-pointers. So you don't see the dynamics of the offensive play of driving to the basket, and so that's really changed the way basketball is being played, and even to a degree a faster game, even to a degree a higher scoring game, because so many people these days can make 3-point shots, and a lot of the people out there feel like the league has gotten lazy because it's easier for you just to go down and just not have to work your ass off within your 24-second or 21-second time frame of moving the ball around. They still move the ball around, but typically it's not being driven to the basket. So it's a whole new way of playing basketball that some feel like it's the cheaters' basketball because it isn't as much, it's not as intense. And guys are so good on the 3-point shooting, they can hang way out and shoot 3-pointers. Now, the real, like I had, when I coached basketball, the biggest trick in offensive, defensive basketball is luring the defensive players out from, oh, there's some poop right there. Luring the defensive players out from the center of the, out from being around the back, the court near the basket. And so that was always a trick. You pull everybody out and then you drive down through the center and you go up for your basket. And so that's just one basic, rule of playing offensive basketball is trying to lure all the other opponents out of the area to open up the area to drive in. So that's kind of is that there? So that there, I'm gonna have to let that set up a little longer. So those guys got that good. That stuff is so potent. Oh, I'm supposed to go to Mac and Cheese today and redo the exhaust on the Jeep Gladiator. I don't know. I should take the Dark Horse Mustang in all reality and have them redo that. Have them redo the exhaust on this car, even though these tires aren't the greatest tires to be used for the rainy days, so they're track tires. As all the dogs sit here and hang out, and I don't have my hearing aids, so I may be talking louder. My wife always, when I get in the car and start talking, I'm always like, it's like, calm down. You talk so loud. But I would think on my channel, it makes it so the clarity, and you can hear me. I mean, who hasn't gone places where people whisper when they talk to you? And I'm just like, I cannot hear you. And they just whisper. They mumble under their breath and all that. So the dogs seem to be doing pretty good here, behaving, as we're down to 3. And Gypsy, she is a character. She definitely is. Gypsy and Rebel definitely are entertaining for the group of dogs. They definitely do give you that entertainment in the evening to watch them play, and I do that last night. So, yeah, what are we talking about? I don't know. What are you talking about? We talk about politics, cars. It just seems like everything just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of seems like what's going on? I mean, what's happening in our country? I mean, what's going on? I mean, is there anything radical going on? I mean, my sister yesterday, who is down there in Tampa, Florida, she texted everybody in the group chat that the FBI building was locked down from a bomb scare. Did that ever make news? An FBI building down there in Tampa, Florida, where my sister works, right next door to the FBI building, it was evacuated and locked down for a suspicious package. Anybody heard anything about that in the major news? People are now calling out Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, or whatever the guy's name is. Kash is, what's the new FBI director? They're cutting, and they're saying that the Epstein files were all supposed to be exposed, and they're not going to be exposed. They're saying Dan Bongino now has a totally different demeanor and a different tone now that he's in public office. His so-called pounding the fists and how he's going to, get in control and expose the Epstein files, and he's not able to do it. And the same thing for the guy Kash, whatever. Just I've got a mind blip every now and then. It's a mind blip when I try to think of all these different personalities that are now under the Trump's administration tenure for a measly 3 years. And where does it all go from there in the Democratic Party? We'll try to outmaneuver and get them back in power. That's what I was talking about yesterday. But anyways, so what's really going on? Is there anything radically going on? I mean, seems like Ukrainian War Talk is kind of nothing much there. Just doesn't sound like much is going to change in the near future. The tariffs just seems like that's just a scare tactic that seems to be, what is it? I mean, what's really playing out? Is anybody really seeing the higher prices? The deportation of all the illegals. People said all the crop fields would be empty of workers, and all the shelves would be empty of the produce. I read an article that said all these illegals aren't leaving. They're not leaving. I mean, so I read an article yesterday that said that these illegals make too good of money here, and they're willing to risk it until maybe they get caught. And what are they going to do besides just send them back home? So they're like, we don't really care. But it's like, that's always been the case since we've been here. What's changed? And Donald Trump by no means has even tapped or touched even anything close to Joe Biden or Obama, the amount of people they deported. I mean, it's just, you just scratch your head. The media machine that tries to tarnish individuals and present something that just isn't. But here's the latest. So OpenAI, Sam Altman, he's so frustrated on getting his artificial intelligence built out, he just got billions of dollars to build like 8 new data centers in like Texas to, I guess, explode the growth of his artificial intelligence and maneuver away from Microsoft, because I guess Microsoft isn't toe healing to his demands, Bill Gates, fast enough for him to be the leading, artificial intelligence infrastructure. So he just got a windfall of billions of dollars to build all these data centers because, as you know, without all these massive data centers, artificial intelligence isn't going to work. I don't know if anybody really thinks that through, but it's basically what I'm saying to you is like Triumph building this badass engine, but it doesn't have anything to put it in it. Or this vehicle that has 2 wheels on it doesn't have an engine to move it. So whichever way you want to look at it, that's where artificial intelligence is. It can't explode fast enough because it doesn't have the infrastructure and the engine to drive it and the energy. Now, NVIDIA's Huang, whatever he is, he's now calling out this administration, and the previous one too, for being so hard on China of buying chips. No, don't eat that. No, don't do that. No, get that out of your mouth. No. From not letting these chips be shipped over to China, because he's saying they're just doing their own thing, and it's all about the money grab. You know that. No, leave it alone. And so he's complaining that it's a mistake for not letting his products get into China, because China's just circumventing him in some ways by taking his technology, and they're now riding off their own infrastructure and technology, and maybe every bit as fast as us or faster. No, don't do that. I just got that away from you. That's disgusting. It's got pee and everything else on it. Leave it alone. Yeah, so anyways, it's a never-ending, ongoing conversation on Ice Age TV. No, see that? He starts eating the barn door. No, don't do that. You're eating my barn doors. See there? That's why at nighttime the best thing I can do is just throw down some rawhides. No, Diesel, drop it. Everything's always got to be, it's never easy. It's never easy. This thing's disgusting. But I get it off the floor. I don't want that damn dog eating that damn thing. Jesus Christ. It just doesn't end. Living the dog life. So there's that news. And how's everybody doing? It's interesting to see on my channel, people reach out and they share a little bit of their personal information. And it's interesting to see that, some people, I drink. Or drinking and smoking. Or I'm by myself. Or I've got health issues. And because I'm on my channel all the time, sharing my stories, and I think about the people that follow me, and I just think, I wonder what your story is, because everybody has a story, and I just sometimes think, wow. And that's the thing about, on a more personal level, Just like when Roland came by the other day, you know, we off the camera, we have more of a personal conversation, and I hear what's going on in his life and who he is. And I'm always intrigued about that. I enjoy hearing other people's stories because it's just always intriguing to see how we're all so much alike, but we're all so different in how we were brought up, our relationships in life, and then for me, I'm going to be 29 years married, and it just seems like that 25-year, 30-year mark in marriages is either the exit ramp or the continued on. No. So now Diesel's doing it. No. Or the continued on relationship that you just are molded into your lifestyle and your relationship where you just don't change anything. You're just kind of like, your whole physical makeup, by the time you've been married 30 years, the odds are you're going to be at least 50 years old, if not 60 years old, if not 70 years old. And so as you get to be in that time frame, I'm sure many people are on the same page. You just start thinking about, okay, what's the next 10 years? What's the next 20 years? No, don't do that. Hey! So I'm going to have to put Rawhides down just because these guys want to eat. But I know how to change all this. I just open the door here, let the other dogs come down here, and then that interacts with them just to kind of get them off their focal point. And then I'm going to have to wrap it up because it's getting later in the morning. And just get these guys involved, leave the door open. And in that way, they now have something else to be focused on. So I wonder how many people know the stories of the married couples that exited after 25 or 30 years of being together. I mean, I know a lot of people. I hear a lot of stories that people are married, and then, you know what? But what drives the separation? You know, what drives the separation once you've been married 25 or 30 years? You know, you didn't grow together, you grew apart. And then the physical side of it, I think, just really is much more challenging. And so that's where the rich-ass older guys, they get divorced and go chase the little young ladies. Who doesn't know these stories? And even the rich-ass older women go chase the younger men. I mean, you don't hear about that, but that goes on just as well. Something to think about before I wrap it up. It's interesting how the capitalist-minded guy that marries like Jeff Bezos, maybe even, Bill Gates, you know, he's kind of a liberal-minded person. But the point is, there's a lot of very well-to-do business people in the world that eventually get divorced, and then the wives get their billions of dollars, and then the wives take and they go the opposite direction to undermine their husband's success of a capitalistic life of making all their money, and they've written off all that money, but then the ex-wife takes all that money and starts funding all these radical organizations to undermine the structure of our country. And Jeff Bezos' wife, that's the number one person that's actually doing that. She is handing out money, doling out money to organizations to totally undermine the political status in our country, the economic status for our country, the green agenda status, the list goes on and on and on. And it's just the irony to that woman is, but your husband made all the money off of capitalism, and you've got all the money now, and now you want to go and tarnish what he created because you just hate his guts for the most part because he dumped you to chase yet another woman in his life. And I think they're getting married. You know, what will her status be eventually? And will Jeff Bezos dole out another billions of dollars? Insane to think us peons like me who can barely pay my electric bill because I have so many payments to make every month, that there's other people out there that have just billions of dollars. It's just so much money. They'll never even be able to spend or use it. And it isn't incredible. And somebody will inherit it. Somebody will be gifted it. It's just, wow. Unbelievable. That's it. I'm going to shut up. So I hope everyone, as I try to keep it going on the conversations. And what's your story? What's your story? You've been married more than once? I have. I've been married twice. Have you gone broke more than once? Have you ever gone broke in your life? What's your most ridiculous thing that's happened to you? You know, sadly, I'm sure some people reach out. Well, I lost my wife. I lost my child. You know, I lost my mother or father at a very young age. I've got health issues. Oh, I know that. That's true. I get it. So our hearts and prayers for everybody on my channel that has all those challenges in life. And hopefully as a community of us hanging out together and talking together, we can get through the woes of life to bring the excitement of life and continue to trudge on yet another day of what we have to do with our mental and physical capability to be here another day on this physical plane we live on. God bless. Have a great day.